Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I'm going to answer the question of what do you do if you've neglected your legs, you have chicken legs, what can you do to correct this issue? And this is a common problem. A lot of guys are out there. In fact, this was prompted by a subscriber who asked about this because he said, look, he can bench as much as he can squat. He couldn't train his legs for a long time due to an injury, and you know what? These things happen. But he's in the position now to where he knows he needs to bring his legs up. He needs to get stronger on his squat. So how do you go about doing this? And this is, again, a complex topic because I've covered in the past that people say, well, I should be able to come in and make noob gains for my legs, right? No, not necessarily. Because what people need to understand, there's a lot more with noob gains involved than just a lagging body part. There's the whole stress recovery adaptation cycle. You will never make the speed that you would have made as a noob coming back. And the best thing you can possibly do here is to reprioritize this. In other words, if you try to come in and train your upper body the way that you've been training it and just start doing additional leg work, your body is going to have to continue to adapt to all the workload you're subjecting your upper body to. It's going to have to expend resources recovering from that. Therefore, it's not going to have the same resources to develop your legs as fast as it possibly could because your system has changed, if that makes sense. That's the way that people need to think about this. Your system itself has changed. You're different than you were as a noob due to all the upper body training. And yes, your work capacity has gone up, but you're going to be putting a lot of additional stress on your upper body because it's stronger in proportion to your lower body. And what I mean here, let's say that you've gotten up to where you can bench 225 for 5 reps. You can row 225 for 5 reps. You can overhead press 155 for 5. You know, you've built a reasonable base in your upper body. Well, if you go and try to train your squats, you're going to be surprised how slow they're going to go along if you continue to put all that same stress on your upper body because it's taking up most of your recovery resources. All right? That's the problem we run into. So the best thing we can do at this point is to get as strong as possible as we can on the barbell squat. And you're going to need to allocate most of your recovery resources to that. And so here's what I'm going to recommend. And this is going to be the reason I say that most people will never pull this off. Because guys can't just leave their upper body alone. In other words, convincing someone who knows they need to bring their legs up and their squat up that they need to de-emphasize their upper body for a while is very difficult to do. Right? It's very difficult. They're not going to want to do it. That's where we run into problems. Now, the thing is, if a person has been doing standing upper body work like barbell rows, standing presses and stuff, fortunately your core and everything is in an ideal position to go ahead and get their squat strong. So the best thing they could possibly do is going to be to squat 3 days a week. You need to go back on some sort of linear progression, 3-day-a-week squat program and no high rep stuff. Because again, if you really want to prioritize, you need to maximize both size and strength. If your squats are weak, if you've been training a year and a half and you can barely squat 225 for 1 rep or 2 reps, your lower body is insanely weak. You're going to have to prioritize it. And that means you've got to get your squat strength up. So when I say a 3-day-a-week squat program, I don't mean come in and do 3 sets of 10. You have to get your strength up on your lower body. Either a 3x5, a 5x5, maybe a 3x3 type system. You could run starting strength for your lower body, strong lifts for your lower body, something along those lines. You need to come in and you need to squat heavy 3 days a week. Now the problem you have is that all the upper body work you've been doing is really going to interfere with your total recovery and it's going to slow down your progression. So you need to limit your upper body work to 1 day a week. And that's, again, where it's going to be hard to convince guys of. And that's why I say people who've done this will never, ever, ever get noob gains in their lower body. That's a big part of it because you can't convince them that 6 days out of the week they need to leave their upper body alone. You can't because they're already upper body focused or they wouldn't have developed this imbalance. But if a person is willing to do that and they're willing to step back and say, okay, I know my lower body is weak. I know I need to get my squats up. I need to bring my legs up. If they are willing to coast and spend the next 6 to 9 months training their upper body on its basic lifts 1 day a week, 1 day, Maybe make it Friday. Let's say you come in and you're going to squat Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and after your squats, you do all your upper body work. You do your bench press, your standing press, your rows, your chin-ups. All right? Pick those four good exercises. Just giving that as an example. That will cover your entire upper body. There won't be a single muscle in your upper body that can't be relatively maximally stimulated with that. You'll maintain your strength. You might even make a tiny amount of progress. Right? You'll make a little bit of progress doing that. One day for your upper body. Make it Friday. So then you're 2 days off. You have 2 full days for your upper body to recover and grow before you have to squat again. And then Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you need to follow a relatively heavy linear progression on barbell squats. And maybe even consider doing deadlifts on the Monday. All right, come in and do deadlifts on Monday with it. Make sure your hamstrings get fully developed. And that will generally resolve this issue. And for a lot of guys, depending on how imbalanced you are, you might only need to do this for 6 to 9 months to get yourself rebalanced out. But you are going to have to do it. And here's what I would say to guys. If you think if you spent 2 years training your upper body and neglecting your legs, and again, we're back to the point of you only squat 225 for a couple reps. If you do not spend at least the next 6 months prioritizing and not caring about progressing on your upper body, reeling it into 1 day a week, you will probably never catch back up. And if you do, it's going to take you a very, very, very long time. You might be looking at a 3, 4, 5 year process to rebalance yourself out. That's not unreasonable. That might be what it takes. If you are willing to prioritize it the way that I described, you might be able to pull it off in less than a year. But it's going to require patience, and it's going to require that people to understand the only way to fix an imbalance is to allow the dominant area, the dominant lifts, the dominant body parts to coast for a long time while you really focus your efforts into what's lacking. And I would say, again, a squat-based program would be the fastest way to resolve it. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.